Good day, everybody. I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 8 English lesson on sentence types. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts. We're doing grade 8. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of sentence types. All right, so when it comes to our chapter of sentence types, our subject is English language arts. We're doing grade 8. And then the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of sentence types, we're going to say, is the sentence declarative? Is it interrogative? Is it imperative? Or exclamatory? All right. So when it comes to our sentence types, right, then we have four kinds of sentences. We have four kinds of sentences. We have a declarative sentence, we have an interrogative sentence, imperative sentence, as well as an exclamatory. All right. So when it comes to a declarative sentence, right? Then we can say a declarative sentence, it is a statement. It's basically just something that you're saying. It's a statement that you're making. And when we have a declarative sentence, it always ends with a period. It's like a dot, a period. And if we look at an example, right, of a declarative sentence that ends with a period, remember it's a statement that is being made. And an example is the nurse told Mr. Abrams to roll up his sleeves so that she could check his blood pressure. So the nurse told Mr. Abrams to roll up his sleeves so that she could check his blood pressure. And if we look at that specific sentence, right, and then that is a statement that is being made. They're telling you something. So it's a statement. It's where the nurse is telling Mr. Abrams to do something. Or not even to do something, but she's telling him something. And then we also have an interrogative sentence. An interrogative sentence, it is a question that is being asked. Think of those movies or shows where I think like NCIS or something, where when the person goes to jail or they lock the person up and then they interrogate the person. As in, did you do it? What is, you know, where were you last night? Blah, 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 blah. So they're interrogating you. An interrogative sentence. It's like asking you questions. So an interrogative sentence, it is questions that is asked. It's a question. And when it comes to an interrogative sentence, right? Interrogative, which is a question, it always ends with a question mark. And if we look at an example, right, of an interrogative sentence, remember we said it is questions that is being asked. So it's questions that is being asked. And if we look at an example, then it says, do you have any plans for the upcoming weekend? So, do you have plans for the upcoming weekend? That's a question that is being asked. And that is an interrogative sentence, a question that is being asked. And remember, when you ask questions, the expectation is for it's almost like you're expecting a response because a question is being asked. You expect a response, and we say that a interrogative sentence, which is a question, it ends with a question mark. So even if you were to ask the question, what is your name? What are you doing this weekend? How was your Christmas? How did you spend your New Year's? Those are questions. That is basically interrogative sentences that you're asking. What are you doing for your birthday? When is your birthday? Those are interrogative sentences. And like we said, interrogative sentences, it ends with a question mark. It is questions that is being asked. And it ends with a question mark. And then we have an imperative sentence. And an imperative sentence, it is a command. So imperative sentence is a command or command, like we would say. It's like basically where they are making a request. So you're making a request. or it tells someone to do something. And when it comes to an imperative sentence, which is a command, right, it ends with a, or it usually ends with a period. But now, if the command, right, which is your request or telling someone to do something, right, if the command, if it shows strong feelings, right, or like if you're stressing a point, and then it ends with an exclamation point. And if we look at, there's two, basically two examples, right, of imperative sentences. One that ends with a period and the other one that ends with an exclamation point, right? The first one says, for this assignment, use references to support your claims, which means that they are they're requesting or telling you to do something. They're telling you to do something, meaning that in order for you to get a better mark, you need to use references to support your claims. Meaning, no references, you're not getting that extra marks. So, that is basically either your teacher or somebody telling you to do something. They're telling you to use references to support your claims. It is a request in order to get more marks, for example. And that is basically, like we say, someone telling you to do something. The second example, right, is don't drive so quickly in the construction zone. And that one ends with an exclamation point because now they're showing strong feelings. And you shouldn't be driving quickly because anything can happen. Remember, they are busy on the roads. On that construction zone, they are busy, so which means that you'll get materials or things laying in the road and you may cause an accident, for example. And that is basically a command that is being made. They are telling you to do something. It is a request, whether it is a subtle request or it is a command that shows strong feelings. But that is a command, an imperative sentence. And then lastly, we have an exclamatory sentence. And an exclamatory sentence, it is also like similar to a statement, right? So an exclamatory sentence is like a statement, but it shows surprise or it shows strong feelings. So an exclamatory sentence, like we say, it is like a statement. Remember, a statement is basically where you're just telling you to do something or telling you something. So an exclamatory sentence is like a statement, but it shows strong feelings or it shows surprise. And when it comes to an exclamatory sentence, right, it always ends with an exclamation point. It always ends with an exclamation point. And if we look at an example, right, of an exclamatory sentence, and then it says, I can't wait to travel through Europe this summer. So I can wait to travel through Europe this summer, meaning that you are saying that with excitement, right? Because remember, a part of an exclamatory sentence is also saying something with excitement. And as you can see, it ends with an exclamation point. And this is basically our four kinds of sentences. We have a declarative sentence, which is like a statement that ends with a period. It's basically you just it's basically just a random thing that you tell someone. And then we have an interrogative sentence, which is a sentence, which is a question, and it always ends with a question mark. And then we have an imperative sentence, which is a command, and it's like making a request or it tells someone to do something. But if the command shows strong feelings, and then it ends with an exclamation point, and then we have an exclamatory sentence, which is like a statement which shows surprise, strong feelings, excitement, and it ends with an exclamation point. All right, so now we're going to aplusstudents.ca and we're going to say, is a sentence declarative, interrogative, imperative, or exclamatory? All right, so now we're going to say what kind of or which kind of sentence this is. We're going to look at the an example of a sentence, and we're going to have to say which kind of sentence it is. It says, which of these professions do you think requires more formal education? Being a lawyer or being a college professor? We need to say if that is either a declarative, an interrogative, imperative, or exclamatory sentence. So, which of these professions do you think requires more formal education? Being a lawyer or being a college professor? And if we were to choose what kind of sentence it is, whether it is a declarative sentence, interrogative sentence, imperative or exclamatory sentence, and then we can say, since it is a question that is being asked and it ends with a question mark, we can say this is an interrogative sentence. It is a question that is being asked and it ends with a question mark. All right. The next one says, we need to say what kind of sentence this is. That huge cruise ship even has a small amusement park on it. So that huge cruise ship even has a small amusement park on it. We need to say what kind of sentence it is. Is it a declarative sentence, interrogative sentence, imperative sentence, or is it an exclamatory sentence? Which kind of sentence is it? Or what kind of sentence is it? And it ends with an exclamation point. All right. And if we were to say which kind of sentence or what kind of sentence it is, then we can say it is an exclamatory sentence. Shows basically strong feelings. It's like wow. It's like a wow effect. Because this ship, it even has an amusement park on it. So that is an exclamatory sentence, and it even ends with an exclamation point. All right. Look at the last one, and then we're going to our test. All right, the last one says, what kind of sentence is this? Who started the rumor about the cafeteria serving cotton candy and ice cream for lunch? So, who started the rumor about the cafeteria serving cotton candy and ice cream for lunch? We need to say what kind of sentence it is. Is it a declarative sentence, an interrogative, imperative, or an exclamatory sentence? And the sentence ends with a question mark. All right. And if we were to say what kind of sentence that is, then since it ends with a question mark, we can say it is an interrogative sentence. It's a question that is being asked, and it ends with a question mark. All right, so now we're going to our test where we're going to say, is the sentence declarative if it's interrogative, imperative, or exclamatory? All right, so we need to say what kind of sentence this is. Which do you think is the most important environmental issue of our time, water conservation, or the protection of natural habitats? So, which do you think is the most important environmental issue of our time, water conservation, or the protection of natural habitats? Is it option one? Is this what we need to say? What kind of sentence this is? Is it an exclamatory sentence? Is it an interrogative sentence or a declarative sentence? That sentence ends with a question mark. Exclamatory, option one, interrogative, option two, or a declarative sentence, option 3. Which one is correct? And if we were to choose the correct option, since it's a question that is being asked, then we can say it is an interrogative sentence, which is option 2. All right. In 1996, Death Valley had 40 days with temperatures above 140 degrees, 120 degrees, and it ends with an exclamation point. Is that a declarative sentence, an interrogative sentence, or an exclamatory sentence? We need to say what kind of sentence it is. And if we were to choose the correct option, then we would say it is an exclamatory sentence and it ends with an exclamation point. But the next one says, what kind of sentence is this? Celery, onions, and carrots are often used in sauces and soups in French cooking. We need to say, is it an exclamatory sentence, interrogative sentence, or declarative sentence? Celery, onions, and carrots are often used in sauces and soups in French cooking. And if we were to choose the correct option, then that is basically just a statement that is being made, which means that it is a declarative sentence. Now we need to say what kind of sentence this is. Which of these professions do you think requires more formal education? Being a lawyer or being a college professor? So we need to say what kind of sentence this is. Is it option one, an imperative sentence? Option two, a declarative sentence? Or option three, an interrogative sentence? And if we were to choose the correct option, then since it's a question that is being asked, then we can say it's interrogative sentence. All right, and lastly, what kind of sentence is this? It says moss often hangs from the branches of the bald cypress, a tree that grows in swamps in the south. So moss often hangs from the branches of the bald cypress, a tree that grows in swamps in the south. We need to say what kind of sentence that is. Is it an exclamatory sentence, a declarative sentence, or an interrogative sentence? All right, and if we were to choose the correct option, we would say that this is a declarative sentence. It is just basically a statement that is being made. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on sentence types. We said we have four kinds of sentences. We have a declarative sentence, which is a statement that is being made and it ends with a period. Then we have interrogative sentence, right, which is a question that is being asked and it ends with a question mark. Then we have an imperative sentence, which is a command, right, which is either making a request or telling someone to do something, which either ends with a period or it ends with an exclamation point if it basically shows strong feelings. And we have an exclamatory sentence, which is a statement but that shows strong feelings or surprise, right? And that ends with an exclamation point. All right, so this is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. And I really hope that you're going to have a good evening further. So, till next time, have a good evening further. Goodbye.